Hey everybody, it's Dice. I hope you're having a great day today. This update is going to be more geared towards our mobile app testers over at Dragon Federation. So I am an admin over on the community Discord server for Dragon Federation. I've been coordinating the tester pages and that forum. So currently it sounds like for 5.0 Android users are either getting like a blank screen or they're getting like a frozen screen. It's incredibly frustrating. This is alpha testing, so I'm sorry that that's happening. It's not necessarily my fault, but I can understand that it's a frustrating and annoying experience. I've tried to make sure I let everybody know alpha testing is all about finding things that don't work and finding that one unicorn of what does work. So it is going to be a frustrating, annoying process. What has happened is that we in August started the alpha testing, and we didn't have a process to move people out of testing who didn't want to participate or who were inactive. So there should have been an email sent out earlier this week where you were informed that if you're not providing feedback, at least on the feedback form at some point, then there's a chance that you will be removed from testing. We've had a lot of new members fluctuate in, and they would like to do some testing. And the point of alpha testing is to support our development team. This testing is not early access. All of everyone's eggs will be reset at the end of testing. In fact, they're going to be reset a few times during testing. So this is not early access. If you are in the testing group for early access, please contact an admin through opening a support ticket or email Dragon Federation so that we can move you out. At this point, the non-disclosure agreement has been lifted, so if you are doing like an unboxing video or even just a review of the app, we ask that you let us know so that we can coordinate with you, because we want to make sure that it is included in your description that it's alpha testing of the mobile app and that this is not the final product for the mobile app. So this week, big news is that we're going to start doing really fast iterative testing. What that means is that you'll see updates probably a couple of times a week, where we have one build and then a couple days later there's a new build. The goal is to do, so the timeline looked like we were doing 1 week, so 7 days, where we were going to squish the 90-day life cycle into 7 days. With that said, if there are major bugs like today's big bug that Android can't participate, then you'll see a new test come out. That new test will probably cause a reset, which means that your egg will become a bean again or a zygote. And it's just a moving forward thing. So some of the things we're testing is does each button work, and does it work the way it's supposed to? Which is hard. I will be doing a full write-up on what the buttons should be doing, and I will be posting those. I needed a little more time this week. But those should be up no later than Sunday evening, Mountain Time, here in the US. So we want to test each and every button. We're not going to give step-by-step instructions to the testers, just because part of this testing is Samson wants to know how does the experience feel. So does the eggs warming up or cooling down feel like it's taking too long or too short? And so there's a bit of a fear that if we define if things are working the way they're supposed to be working, that it will discourage some users from providing feedback, because they're going to be like, oh, well, this is how it's supposed to work. So part of the feedback is the glitches, so that we can let the AR development team know so that they're able to resolve those. But the major part of the feedback form is about how you feel. Is it working or is it not working? Samson put together that form. I understand some people are like, it's not very straightforward. It's vague so that we can try to get more information. In Discord, I do have a glitch form, like a format that I recommend people use. You can just enter, like fill out that form, enter it in the what's not working section. And then when you get to the what is working section, the feedback form was really meant for how do you feel about things as opposed to reporting glitches. So you can either just put in or you can be like, hey, I really like the way XYZ works or the way this looks. Those are completely valid ways to fill out that form. It's just been brought up a lot lately, so I thought I'll just include it in my update. So our timeline looks like we're going to do a 7-day test, hopefully supposed to start this morning. We're going to try and start it tomorrow. Hopefully we have a new build tonight. We'll see if the AR team is able to resolve the Android bug before then. So the idea was to do the 7-day test. This is incredibly escalated, and like incredibly fast when you consider that the timeline's going to be 90 days. But the goal of that was to try and see, try and just test out all the functionality. If all the functionality is working, it might not feel good, but if it's working, then we'll move on to the beta. If the functionality is not working, then at that point, the team will reconvene. They're going to redefine what they think, why it's not working. Is it a bug, or was it just this takes too long, or was it this takes too short? They'll make those edits and adjustments, and then again, if that functionality wasn't there, we'll enter a new 7-day accelerated testing, and that testing is to make sure the functionality works. If all the functionality that's supposed to be there works, then we'll move into that 30-day beta test, where the point of that test is still shorter than 90 days, which is the expected mobile app experience, but it's really going to come down to like, if you're in zygote phase for 3 days, does this seem like it's too fast? Does it seem like it's too long compared to the other stages? So hopefully that clears a little bit up for the mobile app testers. I do have testers split into 2 groups. So there's a few things if you're new to Discord. If you're new to Discord, I need you to go over to Do a Dragon Roll channel, scroll to the very bottom of that page, and there is a comment that says Dragon Egg Owner, and then it's got a little like picture underneath it that looks like a little egg. I need you to click that egg. About mid-page of the comments there is another comment that's asking you if you are I'm not sure if it says iOS or Apple, or if you're an Android user. We need you to mark what one you're using for testing. This way, when you reach out to me, I'm able to assist you and guide you better, because Android does have their own forum, and then iOS or Apple has their own forum, and the starting processes are different. And I'm still getting a lot of comments of people talking about how they haven't received their invite email. And if you're on Android, you don't get an invite email. There is a link, and you download the test app. Of course, your email does have to be entered, so you still have to go through our sign-up process for that. But if you're on Android, you follow this link. Whereas if you're on Apple, you're going to get an email, and you have to accept the invite within 3 days. So these are very important things. And because those processes look a little different, and troubleshooting can look a little different for the two, I've provided 2 separate forums. So marking which device you're using for testing is an internal thing for me as an admin on Discord when I'm helping you troubleshoot, and it provides you just those channels. So on Discord, we have a total of like 68 channels, I believe it is. And some of those are locked behind roles. And so when you provide yourself those roles, you will see those channels, and thus you'll be able to get better help. The goal of some of these of the tester channel also is that you guys can reach out to each other and be like, hey, I'm experiencing this. And if someone else feels comfortable or has had to troubleshoot the same issue, they can help you troubleshoot. It doesn't just have to be me, because I work 2 jobs and then I do this volunteer. I don't get paid to be on Discord. So I try my best to be on Discord as much as possible, but I've had to resolve a few things. I'm a mom, you know, and I do have a life, and I have these 2 jobs, so I have long days sometimes. So if we're able to help each other as a community, because that's what we want to be on Discord, right? Us admins are hoping that we're creating a community, and that people, if you can follow the rules, are able to enjoy themselves there and feel safe. So the goal is that I just will post announcements of like, hey, there's an update. And then you guys as the testers are able to kind of review, well, here's all these buttons I see, here's what they appear to do or what I think they do, here's how I feel about the feeling, I ran into this glitch, here's this glitch report, and you'll be able to do that for each version. Now, of course, if you do go silent for a few months, or an extended period of time, we're not giving an exact time at this time, but if you do go non-communicative for a period of time, then what we will do is probably move you out of the tester group, so you'll lose access to those channels. We'll remove you from testing, so if you attempt to download the Android link, if you attempt to download from TestFlight, it won't let you in anymore, and we'll move a tester who's going to provide us feedback. But the goal is to get feedback from as many testers as possible on each and every build, or each and every version, as some people call it. I think the app actually says VER and then it's a number, whereas the developers call them builds. So that's been a little bit fun, trying to jump between those 2 terminology and not confuse everyone. It is expected of testers that you familiarize yourself with the instructions. I understand that they're long. I understand that there's a lot to read. Again, this is to help the development team, and it's not early access, and there is an expectation that you will read this information because it tells you what to do. Because if you open a ticket and ask me every time you have a problem, you might be waiting for hours. And some people have expressed that this is not a good customer experience for them, and I completely understand, and it's valid. But I'm not available 24/7. I do need to sleep. I need to be able to eat. And I do have other duties I need to take care of. So that forum is set up so that hopefully you guys can get a faster answer. Now, to be fair, it doesn't answer every single thing. It would be way too long if I do that. But it does provide you those setup instructions. It does provide you some general troubleshooting steps if you run into an issue. And then you can reach out to the community and go, hey, I'm having this glitch, or hey, this thing's happening. And just letting other people know you're having that it provides me information, because when I see it on Discord, I communicate it to our team, like, hey, have 10 people can access the app. And to me, that's quite a number. It's not just a one-off thing. Of course, that feedback form does go to them as well, but it allows me to collect data so that I can simplify it to the development team, and then when they have an idea what's going on, they can go in and collect specifics from the feedback form and work on that. But it also allows the community to help troubleshoot. There's some phones that I know how to clear cache and cookies really easy, and others, when you ask me the steps, I have to Google it. So that's one way that the community can help each other, just by being involved in that forum and going, hey, see, you have this glitch. When I did XYZ, it fixed my problem. Or have you thought of this as a troubleshooting step? Let's try it together. Especially because some people, depending on what device they've been on, I can't help Android as much as I wish because I don't have an Android device. I can't go into my settings and review things. I have an iOS. So some people are like really good at that stuff. So I really encourage the testing community to reach out to each other to try to troubleshoot things. Because I keep track of what has worked in the past to try to include it if someone asks me, but also to provide to our development team, like, hey, we found this glitch, but we noticed if we do XYZ, it resolves it. And that's just helpful in the long term. So that's pretty much our update on the mobile AR app. If you weren't aware and you're just reviewing this video, I just had an earlier video today that I just did a few minutes ago. Over the weekend, it was announced that the mobile app and the VR experience will be launching in 2024. Now, there's no exact date. It could be any time next year. But we're hoping to get it out sooner rather than later, of course. Now, with that said, if they do run into major glitches, which you can never expect everything, right, guys? So barring any major issues, we'll just move right along and we'll get that out as soon as possible that year. But we also want it to be a really good experience, and we found that the majority of our customers, or Dragon Federation's customers, that they're willing to wait to make sure this is a good experience. They're not interested in a rushed product. So Dragon Federation's gonna do their best to make sure this is like the best product they can provide. And of course that tester feedback is incredibly important to create a feedback loop where you guys are, the testers at least, are letting us know that, hey, this feels good, this doesn't feel good, I don't like that. With that said, I did start a conversation like a week ago with you testers about the way some of the icons looked or what you thought some of the icons do. I just want to provide you a little update that Dragon Federation has let me know that their plan is to go over the visuals last. Now, please do feel free to provide feedback on that. But they're more interested in things like, is it too easy to kill your dragon or cause it to go into hibernation? Is it too easy or too hard to heat up or cool down your dragon? Right, because part of the project is the realism of it. So if you're able to go from like 155 degrees to 30 degrees in a few minutes, it's really not realistic. I mean, we'd have to have like a fire extinguisher, right? So they're heating and warming icons. They're hoping to get feedback on how those feel. Does the toggle feel intuitive? Is it heating up and warming too fast? Is it taking too long? Is it something that you're like, oh, this is just a slog to get through? Are the tapping and rubbing features in the mobile app working in a way that feels natural or normal? How does the lullaby work, or things like that? The vacation mode has not been planned for this set of testing. I believe it's planned for the official beta. It might be planned for later, but as I understand it, Dragon Federation wanted to test what should currently be in the app, which is, does the focus talk, which is a microphone button, does it record your voice, and does it affect the baby dragon? Excuse me. With that said, the app is always listening to you. There's those little sound bars on the bottom of the UI that like they wiggle. That's why I was doing the finger thing. But the microphone, as I understand it, is meant to be more of like a recording where you can record a sound or yourself talking and play it back. Does the lullaby feature work in that it's supposed to slow down your dragon's heart rate and put it to sleep? Does the heating and warming feel good? Does the life cycle look good? Those are things that they're really wanting to look at. But they will eventually go over the icons. So if you have comments about the icons, feel free to make them. But they're not something you need to review every version, and I will probably encourage a review at the end, towards the end of our testing, when they're ready to make those changes. Because one of the things that we're also looking, that I've requested, and I know has been requested by other members, is a color blindness feature, which has not necessarily been coded in the system, where essentially you can choose what some of the what some of the UI colors might do. I don't promise that it'll be made into it, but it is something that we've requested. I've seen community members request, so that it's a little more visually friendly for those who would have a hard time viewing it. And that's just a process of like, how should that look? Right? Because the team, any time a product is made, you have the company usually has like this visual idea of how those should look like, or what those colors should look like, or what's most appealing to the masses. And so by doing a color blindness filter or setting could change that. So it sounds like for testing we're not going to do that, but that can hopefully be easily added or changed later. But that is something that has been a request. So if you do have that request, feel free to make it in the feedback form. If you don't care, you don't have to say anything. I'm just trying to provide some feedback and some information on thoughts and ideas, because my channel is really about my personal reviews, my personal thoughts. So if you don't want to hear me ramble, don't subscribe. If you enjoy hearing me ramble or hearing my updates, feel free to subscribe or follow. I don't personally like notifications, so I don't recommend people do notifications. I'd recommend you do notifications on the Discord, because those are going to be updated far more frequently than my channel. But those are your choices. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble, and hopefully I provided some useful information for our testers, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.